Welcome to another episode of Monday Funday Podcast. I'm your host, Ahmed Al-kadri. If you can speak Arabic, Ahmed Al-kadri. Guys, I'm wearing blue, and I just realized I'm matching with the blue backdrop. I shouldn't have worn blue today. Now y'all are just going to see brown legs, brown arms, and brown face. But hey, hair's looking good. Putting on the right conditioner, so everything's looking good so far. Good. Before I begin this episode, yes, this is a solo episode. I just want to check in with all my fellow breadheads and breadcrumbs. Shout out to the special ones. That's right. I'm talking about my Patreon subscribers. Andrew Poe, Aziza, Hazel Mars, Andy, Sam. I think I'm missing I'm missing another person. Hold on. Yes, you guys. Thank you so much for becoming Patreon subscribers. If I'm missing, Amy, that was the person I was missing. Thank y'all so much for becoming Patreon subscribers. My one thing is, I message you guys sometimes. Y'all haven't responded on Patreon, so just get on Patreon and just check out the messages. Shout out to Andrew Poe. He subscribed to the I Love You tier, and I just sent him, a thank you letter and a bunch of stickers and stuff. And when I see him, I believe in St. Louis, he gets a free ticket to my show, because that's one of the perks. If you hit the I Love You tier, you get free tickets to comedy shows. Until I become too big and I get too many subscribers and I'm like, I can't afford giving out so many free tickets. But for the most part, everyone sign up for the tier. You get free tickets to my show when I'm in your town. I wanted to do a solo episode today because I wanted to check in with everybody. I miss you guys. I feel like I haven't really checked in. I've just been in and out with this podcast where I interview someone, and you guys kind of know what's going on in my life, but it's not 100%. And I want to get nice and close with you guys. Yes, I got back. I was in Europe for a whole month. It was a great tour. We did 20 shows, 11 cities in 12 days. I was traveling with my friend Sammy Obeid. It is funny because when people are like, when you travel with someone for a long time, do you guys hate each other? We never really hated each other. There was a few points we did bicker like a married couple, but that's about it. That's normal for every other person. People, any group of friends that are traveling together, it's going to happen. You start, little things they do start to annoy you. Next thing you know, you're getting yelled at because you sat on his bed. or did I do anything that bothered him? I don't think so. I'm perfect. But it was a really good tour. I by the end of by show 12, I was I was very, I don't want to say a veteran, but I was just so comfortable on stage, and I was this is nothing to me. And I'm thinking about actually moving to New York in the future just so I could have more stage time. I love LA more than anything. There is no one who loves LA more than me. There is no one who that came from Dallas, Texas, who's also Yemeni, that loves LA more than me. In that category, I'm totally number one in that. And I genuinely do. But there's sometimes I have thoughts about just moving to New York so I could have more stage time. Because at the end of the day, I just love stand-up comedy. I love stand-up, and I love doing the podcast. And this is something I could do in New York. But back to Europe. Europe was a fantastic experience. My favorite shows, on the top of my head, I want to say I don't know why, but Oslo was just such a great experience for me because I had no expectation for Oslo, and they were just amazing. They were so loud, and the room was, when I compare cities, not just by the crowd, but I also compare by the room we were performing in and how I was performing. For example, Dublin, our first show of the tour, great crowd. Personally, I didn't perform as well as I wish I did. I did fine, but I was still a bit rusty. I had, because leading up to it for a week and a half, I didn't get on stage or a full hour or something like that. So I wasn't really on my A game. And I was like kind of looking through my notebook, making sure I got the set ready to go. London was great crowds in London, but I personally didn't like the room. Sammy loved it. I mean, it was a lecture. It was literally a lecture hall. I'm sure I have maybe two clips from those shows. It's the one where it looks like I'm in a green screen. So if you guys scroll down in my feed, you could see it. Glasgow was a lot of fun. We did the Stand Comedy Club. Hopefully in the future, I want to do a UK tour of my own, UK/Ireland tour. So I'll do Dublin, Glasgow, and instead of Manchester, I'll do Birmingham and I'll do London. And I think that would be a cool UK tour. I'll probably do it in the winter. And Paris was a lot of fun. I know I keep saying like every city was great. I'll admit every city was great, but the only also what sucked about Paris, the only shitty thing about Paris was the cameras kind of we were in a rush. We showed up pretty late, and I ended up messing up setting up one of the cameras, and then the main camera was way too far. It was like we didn't get the best footage from Paris, but the crowd was amazing. People were messaging me and being like, I've been living in Paris for X amount of years, or I grew up in Paris, and when I go to comedy shows, it's nowhere near as hype or loud as y'all's show was. So Europe was dope. Or Paris was dope. What else? Okay, the two shows, the cities that stuck out to me that I was like it wasn't as good as the other cities was the first show in Stockholm's, because Sweden, they were just reserved. It's not that they were a bad crowd, they were just reserved. they don't give it up. They're just like they hide their emotions, you know. And then I have my water bottle. Where did I put my water bottle? What the heck? Oh, there's my water bottle. I need my water bottle. I need to stay hydrated. I hiked this morning. Hang on. Okay, you can hear me. I think you can hear me out from the mic. But basically, this is me just getting my water bottle. But yeah, anyways. Anywho, it's also blue. It's blending with the background. Stockholm, the first show was a bit weird, but like it was so funny because there were brown Arab people and Desi people there, and they were laughing a lot harder than the white people, but there was more white people, or just Swedish people, if you will. But it was still a lot of fun. I enjoyed Stockholm. When I went to the Abbey Museum, it was a magical moment for me in my life. Honestly, top moment. But the worst show out of all of them, and I think the people who are listening and who were there will agree, was the first show in Amsterdam. The first show, I still had fun. I still had a good set. By then, I think what kind of threw me off and why I didn't like Amsterdam was we just did 18 shows. Most of them all fire, great crowd, get comedy, blah, blah, blah. I get on stage with that energy being like, let's do this. Everyone is just as hyped as I am. Because I came in, yo, you guys ready for a good show? Woo! Right? I get on stage. It was like there were people really high in the show. Just this one guy like was about to pass out. He was so stoned. And I mean, yeah, it's Amsterdam, but there were some people high, and then there was like hijabis, but also like people in keffiyehs. And because Sammy has such a huge pro-Palestine, he talks about Palestine. It's a lot of people who are like very, very pro-Palestinian, which is good, and I love them to death. Of course, more power to them. But also they only go to protest, and they all know each other from going to protest. So they all go to this comedy show thinking it's like protest energy. I mean, it's a stand-up comedy show. You're about to hear some shit. But one thing I was doing with that crowd, and that's how I ended up having a good set. Because at first I was like, Oh, you guys are reserved. Oh, you guys are this. Okay, I'll warm y'all up. Like, I was making slight comments of like, oh, you guys are reserved, or oh, that joke bombed. It's okay. Well, I'll do this joke. So while I'm not bombing, but while I'm doing my set, I'm like, in my brain, I have my set list, and I'm just like, switch this here, don't here, put this here. And this crowd was just so tough, and I ended up just guiding them throughout the whole set of like, okay, you guys are warming up. All right, I'm going to do a haram joke. And then they were laughing. And I was like, can I do an edgy joke? And everyone was like, yeah. And then I did the edgy joke and they laughed. And then I have the Ramadan joke that I know that's pretty out there. And I look at my notebook and I go, I can't do this joke. And I flip the page. So anyways, and one guy goes, do the joke. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. And I get everybody to everyone starts cheering, do the joke, do the joke. So when I did the joke, they were dying laughing. Because I made it seem like they gave me permission to say the heinous things I'm about to say. But that's the point of stand-up comedy, is 50% of the room dying laughing and 50% of the room being like, horrified. And that is what the great Patrice O'Neal has said. He has preached. I highly recommend everybody to check out Patrice O'Neal, Elephant in the Room. I think it's a Comedy Central special, but I believe you could see it on YouTube. And I also recommend Mr. P. It's a comedy album on Spotify. So funny. It is hands down one of my favorite pieces of comedic art, if you will. It's great. So Europe was great. After that, I went to Istanbul. I spent a whole week there. The show went well. I mean, a lot has changed in Istanbul. It's kind of sad. Like, I mean, I think economically, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any Turkish people who are listening to this, definitely shoot me an email at MondayFundayPodcast@gmail.com. Also, guys, if you have any piece of advice, shoot an email to MondayFundayPodcast@gmail.com. But what was I going to say? Yeah, like, I believe before the pandemic, this is what my cousin told me. Before the pandemic, $1 was 3 Turkish lira, maybe 2. And then when I went this last month in August, $1 was 34 Turkish lira. 34. That's insane. I mean, it's a mixture of, I believe their president didn't do the best economic choices. I believe, I'm not sure. I don't want to point any fingers. And then there was there was like a downfall, and they were kind of blaming a lot of blaming a lot of Arabs for it. The rich Arabs and the poor Arabs. And when I say rich Arabs, particularly the Kuwaitis, they were like buying out a lot of the properties in Turkey. And then so people in Turkish, like, I think they passed a law, or they just like agreed, like, hey, we're not selling anything. And then the Syrian refugees, they were blaming Syrian refugees from like taking businesses away from Turkish people. So, and that, I mean, this isn't just a Turkish, it's a global issue where everyone always has like, I mean, kind of like in America, we blame Mexicans or immigrants coming in our country and stealing our jobs, or like, stealing businesses away and stuff. And it's like, no, it's just more, it's more competitive. But I get the whole, listen, I get bitter when, me as a comedian, as a stand-up comedian, working so hard, like for 8 years, going to open mics, bar shows. Heck, I'm going to a bar show tonight and performing in front of 5 people. All for a content creator who's just been doing videos online, just waltz over to stand up. And he doesn't even have an act. It's just like joke here, joke there. And then he like, I don't know what he does, but it's whatever. And then it just ruins the art of stand-up comedy for stand-up comedians. But hey, inshallah, it will work out for me. And then after Istanbul, I did my own show. I lost money actually on this show. I bet on myself. I rented a venue in London. I paid about $2,000. Yeah, $2,000. Because in pounds, it was like 15, 20, something like that. But I paid about $2,000 to lock in this venue. And then I tried to sell tickets, and I got screwed over so hard. Eventbrite is super racist because I put Ahmed Al-kadri _ in London, whatever, and I think it's a PayPal issue. It's like a PayPal / Eventbrite issue. I'm still trying to figure out what is the issue, but basically, I put Ahmed Al-kadri back in London, and I did my own show. People were trying to buy tickets. They want to buy tickets, and they were just like, forget it. So I lost ticket sales from there. And then I even created a new Eventbrite link with just Ahmed. And then people were still having a better time buying tickets, but it was still somewhat of an issue. And I thought it was an Eventbrite issue for a long time. And then when I came back to LA, I was trying to... Oh, by the way, I ended up selling enough. I sold somewhat enough tickets, but I only sold... I made like $1,700 worth of tickets. So I lost $300. So I didn't lose a ton of money, but it was kind of like a... that sucked. But shout out to Taz. Her name is Mumtaz. Mumtaz, but her name is Taz. And she helped me out. She helped promote the show and everything. And next time, like, I'm just going to have her create, not even an Eventbrite, but like her create like a ticketing system without Eventbrite. And then I could just have her pay me because I trust her. You know, I literally was giving her my PayPal information. She was so honest. I was literally sending her, I go, hey, here's $2,000. PayPal, this venue was giving me an issue. Can you send them the money for me? So, because I couldn't direct deposit the venue, so I like PayPal Taz $2,000 so she could pay the venue for me. The power of trust, you guys. She could have just taken the money, ran away with it, but she didn't. She instead helped me. I ended up losing some money, but overall, Europe was dope. I enjoyed it. It was a great experience, and I gained a lot of weight. You're getting so big. Yes, you are. You're getting so big. Yes. This is self-love. I'm getting fat. A little chunky. Getting thick. With triple C's. I have been eating good. Just some cardio and I'll get rid of it, right? Right? After Europe, I got back to LA. I was like, let me de-stress, get back in my routine of working out. But after a week of getting back into my routine, which usually takes about a week to get back into any kind of routine, I immediately had to leave again. I had to go to Albany and back. Oh, I should talk about this. Yes. Okay. My flight to Albany, I missed that flight. I talked about this on TikTok. I missed my flight, and then I had to get a last minute flight to JFK, and then get out as soon as I land JFK, rent a car, and drive straight to Albany to do New Platts College. I was exhausted. That was a bad idea. I ended up forgetting my license somewhere. Doesn't matter. Anyways, when I booked a last minute flight to JFK, I had to pay an extra $500. I was already upset. It was me and then this black girl she lives in LA but goes to college in New York. And then this one dude. We didn't talk the whole time, us three. All of a sudden, we're flying, and then it was a 4-hour flight. The last hour 20, the guy sees me and the black girl. We're talking about Challengers. She was watching Challengers, and there was like a gay sex scene or whatever. And then I was like, "How is this movie, by the way?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's fine." Blah blah blah. Good. And I was like, "Yeah." During the sex scene, I was like looking with the corner of my eye, and she starts laughing. She's like, "Yeah, that was." She was like, "Yeah, it was so weird. That scene just came up," and I was like in the plane watching. I was like, "Yeah." The guy on the right, this older gentleman, takes off his headphones and he looks at me and her, and he points at me. He goes, "Do you go to USC?" I'm like, "I'm 31 years old." And he was like, "Oh, I could have sworn I saw you in a USC shirt." And I was like, "I've been wearing this whole time, but that's odd." And then he goes, "What about you?" She goes, "No, I go to a college near in New York. I go to an art school, whatever. I'm a dancer. And he goes, so you guys are from LA? I was like, I live in LA. And then she's like, yeah, I live in LA, but go to school in New York. And we were like, what about you? And he goes, I'm the #1 plastic surgeon of Beverly Hills. That's how he started. And we were like, yeah, that's cool. And then the girl next to me was like, oh my God, what kind of celebrities have you worked on? He goes, it's against HIPAA. It's malpractice, so I can't tell you, but man, gosh, I wish. About any celebrity you thought of, I've worked with, all the best breasts you've seen in Hollywood. It's pretty much my work. And he's like, yeah, I've done over 16,000 breast implants. And we're like, yeah, this is super cool. And then one thing, I've grown up in LA, or not grow up, I've been in LA long enough to where when you meet a lot of name droppers, and the guy just starts name dropping. He's like, but yeah, because of my work, I've been in over 25 network channels I've been on Dr. Oz a bunch. Me and Dr. Oz are boys. I actually met Oprah through him. Yeah. And if you follow me on Instagram, I got about like 2.5 million followers. Who the hell is calling me? Oh, sorry. It's my girlfriend. Hey, I'm recording a podcast. Can I call you back? I'm literally recording a podcast right now. Can I call you back in like 30 minutes? I love you too. Bye. Anyways, you could keep that. And then he goes, I'm the #1 plastic surgeon. What did he say? Yeah, he starts name dropping all these celebrities that he knows, like how he met Steven Spielberg and he's worked on this, and like at one point, like he was name dropping like the U.S. military in a Yemeni wedding, or like Israel on Gaza. Like the guy was name dropping like crazy. And then he goes, so what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm a comedian. He was like, oh, no way. And we just started talking about comedy. And he goes, yeah, I'm friends with Marlon Wayans. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. He's like, I'll get you guys connected. By the way, he told me to follow him and DM him so he could connect us. He never did. I knew he wasn't. And usually when people start name dropping and promise you all these things, for me, 1 year in, 1 year out, I'm like, sure, okay. It's a surprise if someone actually follows through, but I knew he wasn't. And he's like, yeah, I'm friends with Marlon Wayans. I grew up with him, blah, 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 blah. I was like, cool. And then he, what did he says? Oh yeah. I go, yeah, well, he was like, I should see you live sometime. And I go, yeah, well, I have a show next week at the Hollywood Improv, which was last Friday. I have a show at the Hollywood Improv, August 30th. He goes, oh, August 30th? Yeah, sorry, I'm going to be hanging out with John Stamos and the Beach Boys. I was like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, John Stamos is now the drummer for the Beach Boys. So we're all hanging out backstage at the Greek Theater. And I was like, oh, cool, you get backstage passes? And he looks at me dead in the eye. He goes, I'm always backstage. I always have backstage passes. It was like a sense of like, I feel like he's just so rich, he doesn't realize how out of touch he is with poor people. That's the vibe I was getting from him. And then, oh yeah, he kept like talking about his son and how tall he was. How he's a director. Like every time he brought up his son, he was like a bit higher. He was like, yeah, man, this is my son. Yeah, he's handsome. He's 6'2". Yeah, tall drink of water. Like he is the next big thing. He does like horror films and all that stuff. He's great. He actually filmed a music video for this rapper named Designer, and he had to film a music video last minute, and he pulled it off. I mean, well, I paid for it, but he ended up pulling out like a 9-hour shoot at this like off LA in this desert area, and putting a great project, and it's like doing a lot of million views. So we're very proud of it. And I was I'm very proud of him. And I was like, well, you should say we're proud of him because as you said, you helped pay for it. He goes, no. It was all him. Like he needed that like sense of like, nah, look at me. Nah, I don't need that. I need to stay humble. But I'm like, then why'd you tell us that you paid for it? He was a trip. I think he was on coke because he said he needed to go to the bathroom. He went to the like when you come back from the bathroom too quick, it's usually a bump of coke. If it's too long, you're taking a meaty shit. But if you're too quick, you're like, he's taking a cocaine. And he had the signs with the jaw and everything. Anyways, I ended up making the show, the college gig. And then after New Paltz, I went to Des Moines, Iowa. That's the spot, bro. People are thinking, oh, LA, New York, Miami. No. Des Moines, Iowa is where it's at. And I was staying with my friend Andy. Shout out to her. Always giving me a place to stay when I'm there. And we drove to Grinnell College. And this is the cool. Out of all the 3 college gigs that I just did recently, Grinnell was my favorite. This is the coolest part. They actually asked me back. This was my second time there. A year ago, I did Grinnell College. And I was doing my hour. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, the whole set, actually, this one kid kept talking to this girl the whole time. He was like trying to spit game or whatever. And it's not loud enough to where it's heckling, but it is loud enough to where I could hear him, and it's distracting for me, but not, and maybe distracting for the people sitting next to him, but not something I should address. But he was talking the whole time to this girl, trying to get her number or whatever, macking, rizzing her up. At the end of my set, before I closed, I was like, all right, I got to get going. Who knows? Maybe this kid will finally listen. He finally looks up at me. I go, yeah, I'm talking to you. Wow, look, he's finally paying attention to me. And he just goes, we have to go. Like, as in like the time that's set. And I was like, oh, I'm taking too long. No, I think I have enough time. My contract still says I have 10 minutes left. He goes, yeah, we have to go. We have things to do. And I go, oh yeah? Am I making you uncomfortable? Kind of like how you've been making me uncomfortable the whole time as you've been talking to this girl. By the way, you've been rizzing her up this whole time. Let's talk about y'all too. How do y'all two know each other? How y'all been dating? And he just goes, I said, we have to go. And sassy ass. And then I was like, okay, well, how about this? You shut up and, let me finish the set. Everybody in Grinnell College liked me except that kid. This was last year. This year, I performed again 2 weeks ago. I have a great set, and I'm very happy. And I'm doing meet and greets. I'm taking photos, selling merch. This young girl comes up to me. Well, I'm in college. Everyone's fucking young as hell. And they look like children. It was crazy. Like they're like 20, 21. I'm like, y'all look like 4-year-olds. It was crazy. But anyways, this girl comes up to me and she goes, hey, she was like working staff too. And she goes, hey, last year I wasn't able to make your show, but my boyfriend did, or my boyfriend at the time did. And you called him out for rizzing up this one girl, and you called him out. And that's how I found out that my boyfriend or my ex-boyfriend was cheating on me. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. When you called him out, all the other students picked up like, wait, why is he rizzing up that girl? He's dating so-and-so. And then she goes, before I even knew anything, after the show, he comes over to my place and he was like, oh, the comedian was so disrespectful. He was so rude. He was so mean to me. And then she was like, why are you hating on the comedian so much? And then all the friends she was like, all of my friends told me like, oh no, the comedian was made fun of him because he was trying to rizz up this girl. Bada bing, bada boom. She finds out he was cheating on her. I felt so vindicated. And then I was like, what's that guy's name? She goes, Grant. I'm like, fuck Grant. And then I had her wear my merch. And then we took a picture of both of us smile. We were both smiling, so it wasn't intimidating. Like, this is how we sent the picture of us giving the middle finger. Instead of doing this, we did this. So we have the middle fingers, but we were smiling. And we took the picture and I go, send this to Grant and be like, Ahmed says, fuck you. Talking during a whole comedy show. I was so petty, but hey, I felt so vindicated. Did it take a year? Yes, but it was worth it. I will say I like performing for colleges. A lot of people think you have to be very PC, very like clean. You have to be very clean for NACA. NACA conferences, you have to be clean. But for colleges, you could really just do whatever you want. As long as you're not offensive, which makes sense, you know? Like, I'm Arab. I could make fun of Arabs and Muslims. Like, and it's not even, I'm not even making fun of them. I'm talking about my own perspective, you know, of things. But even when I make fun of gay people, I kind of do it like, or black people or Jewish people or whatever. Like, I make fun of everybody, obviously. But like, if I'm like not funny, I'm just like punching down at a certain group of people, then yeah, like people will get offended. Okay, I don't want to say punching down, because punching up, punching down, it's all punching. We're all play fighting. It's all jokes here. To me, it's as long as it's funny. That's the rule of thumb. But yeah, yeah, I felt vindicated, made fun of that guy. Oh yeah, so college kids, they're always down to make jokes. They're really funny. They love a good sense of humor, or at least this new generation. And Grinnell College, it was mostly freshmen. They were all born in 2006. I felt like a geezer. I felt so old when I was like, what year were you guys born? They were like 2006. I was like, I was born in 1993. And then I did my 9/11 joke. They loved it. And then this girl comes up to me, this sweet 18-year-old. She's 18, looks like my niece, wallah. She looks like my baby niece. She's like, I love your 9/11 joke. Can I tell you my favorite 9/11 joke? I was like, sure. And she goes, so what's your favorite tower? I'm a North Tower girl. That was the joke. She was so happy to tell this to me. I know what she said wasn't funny, but the way she said it and her face after, like, how happy she was, like, oh my God, I need to tell him my 9/11 joke. It was adorable. Shout out to her. She was hilarious. And they all follow me on the socials, so that's cool. I had a list of things. Oh yeah, I talked about being fat. I am getting fat, man. Yesterday, I was hanging out with my boys, Mike Ishak, Michael Al-Baghdadi, Adham Muhammad, Adham's brother, Khalil. And shout out to Saad Al-Isa. Saad, our boy, he's a friend of the show. He started his first headlining tour, and he sold out his first show in San Diego. Good for him. I will be in that same room December 20th. Mic drop. Please be there. I'm very proud of him. He deserves it. He's great. And we were all hanging out. And, bro, I will say, like, I got high with them. I mean, I got pretty high. And we were celebrating Adham's brother Khalil's birthday. And they brought cake. It's not that I wasn't just eating. Like, I wasn't just being fat. I was a pig. It was my fault. When I'm high, I get mad munchies. And I was doing so good before I came over. I worked out. I was just eating low fat, low carbs, high protein diet, chicken and eggs, a protein shake, snacking on cheese sticks and almonds. Like, I was doing good. And then I get over to their place. I smoke some marijuana. Next thing you know, we had a bag. You know those box of chips from like Hot Funyuns, Hot Fritos, Hot Cheetos, Hot Doritos, all that? Bro, I'm eating bags. I ate at least 4 bags of chips. No, 5. No, I ate 5 bags of chips. Damn it. I ate 5 bags of chips. And I'm so stoned. Like, next to me, there was pecans, and I kept eating all of Edham's pecans, and it was for his guest, and well, I was a guest, and I ate the whole thing. It was a bowl of pecans. I ate like all these oranges and grapes, and then they brought out the cake. They literally go, "Hey, Ahmed, we cut you a big piece for you." I was like, "Thank you." I eat the big piece of cake. Next thing you know, like later in the night, we're playing Super Smash Bros. We're playing like video games, all that, and we're all like roasting each other and stuff. And as like Edhem and Michael and Mike, they're all inside. They're all getting an argument over something. I'm high as hell. I'm literally like, I'm on the other side of the living room. Mike Ishak didn't eat his cake because he's on like a diet. And I'm leaned over, like on my knees, like crouched over, and I'm eating his piece of cake. And they're like, yo, Ahmed. Like, Saad goes, Ahmed, your boobs are bigger than my ex's. What the fuck? And then we're all just roasting me. And I was like, I get it. Because it's not only like the way, like, obviously I've gained weight, but it was the way of me crouching over eating so much. I was eating everything. Shout out to my editor, Ann. She knows how fat I am. She know, like, when I go to Chicago, I'm excited because, yeah, I'm excited for the comedy show, but I'm more excited to go to Ann's house, and I know her cabinet is just stacked with like oatmeal cream pies, sour punch kits, all this, and it's for me. They don't eat it. I eat it. Like, people know how much I eat, and I'm like, okay, I may have a problem. I need to calm down, you know? All right. Let's see. Oh wait, there's a flash. Hopefully we'll be okay. For some reason there was a flash, but we'll be okay. There's a lot of difficulties. Okay. I'm getting ready for the Midwest tour before I go to the Let's Get Deep portion of the show. I'm getting ready for a tour. It is now September 3rd, September 18th. In 15 days, I leave to the Midwest. I've just been posting every day. I'm trying my best to stay on top of the content game. I'm posting more sketches. For the people following this podcast, please like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm putting out more podcasts. Well, it's right now every other week. We'll see if we'll put out more. But I'm trying my best to keep up the content game, posting sketches, looking through stand-up clips, all that stuff. I'm doing my thing. I'm excited for the Midwest tour. To be honest with you guys, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. I'm like, what if no one buys tickets to the shows? And I really want to sell tickets to the comedy shows. I really want to succeed. I just don't want to be in a financial hole. I don't want to be in credit card debt. I have 3 credit cards. One of them I'm in debt in, and I'm like trying to pay it off. I hate credit card debt. I'm like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. If I could just sell these tickets, bro. It is so hard. It's hard. But hey, nothing makes me happier than performing in front of a crowd of people. So I'm right now extremely anxious over these shows, but I know once I perform in front of how many ever how many ever people I get into the door, I will have a good set. I will have a good time. And that's all that matters. And then, yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to bring up. Now let's get to the Let's Get Deep portion. This was a fun episode. I'm definitely going to do more solo episodes. And it's 2 cameras, so hopefully it'll be easier for you to edit. I hope you allow me to do more solos. Yeah, feel free to, if this is your first time checking out this episode, this podcast, please follow me on Instagram. Check out my tour dates. I'm re-releasing my special September 19th at 4x3 Productions, their YouTube page. Shout out to them. They're very sweet for doing this for me. I'm all over the Midwest. I'm going to be in the East Coast. I'm going to be in Canada. I'm going to be in SoCal / Vegas and Denver and Arizona. So please check me out. I love you guys, and have a happy Monday.